Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live show hosted by yours truly, JA, and as recently as always, joined by the great man, DJ. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Thanks. Happy to be here. Got the late call up again, but this time around didn't decide to start drinking at midday, so I think we'll be a little bit better off this week.
You didn't have to go and have a cold bath and a nap like last week.
I actually did have a very long nap last week, so no, this week ready and rearing to go.
Just quietly, how good are naps though? How good is a daytime nap?
Mate, we're currently transitioning our 13-month-old daughter to one nap, and I literally think, what are we doing? If I could have 3 small naps a day, I would be the happiest person in the world.
It's kind of like, because we know how good they are, and then like they're fighting it, and you're like, you're right. Why are we doing this to you? You know?
Literally, like, why fight it? My
As
God,
someone who's
just
both
enjoy
kids
it.
don't have naps now, I could promise you, I wish my 4 and 5-year-olds both had naps still.
Well, God, I don't look forward to that time, to be honest.
It's a beautiful time.
Tell you what, the nap is just amazing. Amazing. And yes, thank you. Thanks, Reegs. So you're just here, from the comments, he's just here to be disappointed by the Dolphins again. That's a good one. Tommy Jones, g'day, lads. Hey, Tommy.
Colts this week. We got the Colts this week, so that's huge.
Oh, that's a big one.
Well, let's
Reegs again.
Sorry, if everyone notices.
Oh, sorry. I just love reading the comments.
If everyone noticed at the start of the live show, I'm a bit distracted. It's because I've got to go and share the thing into all the groups. So I'm sitting here with my phone in my hand trying to share it because Facebook makes things so freaking hard all the time with everything it does. I just thought it was
that rash that just kept getting itchy.
Well, it's that too. There's a lot of things that are going wrong. You know?
Told you have to use it every day. The topical cream is every day.
Well, on that note, let's launch into the Thursday night football game, which. Look, I thought it would be a lot worse than what it was. The Bengals made me think it was going to be bad for the first half. Then they came storming home. Joe Burrow was pretty good in the second half in particular. And it's Lawrence's 4th loss in the NFL, which now ties his total losses from college and high school. He now is tied in the first 4 games in the NFL. So he must be hating that. And
wasn't it that all those losses were against Joe Burrow?
2 of them were against. So no, he's had
2 of them.
He's had 2 losses where he's been up by more than double. He's had 2 games
double digits. Yeah,
he's lost after being up by double digits, and both of them were Joe Burrow.
But look, to be honest with you, he actually played a pretty good game. He actually made a few really good calls, a few really good passes that showed that he actually read the scheme pretty well. He went through his projections quite well. So I actually reckon Trevor Lawrence might be okay. Like, he will need obviously more around him. But he showed in that game, obviously he was against the Bengals, who aren't the most powerful team in the NFL, as you know, but he actually showed that he was a bit more confident. He was able to actually step into his passes. He sat in the pocket a bit longer because there was no the pass rush wasn't there. So I actually reckon Trevor Lawrence was starting to get a bit of confidence up. So hopefully for him, there's a projection over the next few weeks.
Also, it was
Joe Burrow looks confident. Like, Joe Burrow looks good. Like, I'm pretty happy with Joe Burrow, to be honest. Like, I think he's going to be around for a very long time.
Yeah, he's very good, and as he should be. He was the first overall pick for a reason. I think the big one, and Mark Davison just made a great comment. Jag should have gone for the field goal to make it 17-0 at halftime. Couldn't agree with you more. It almost took all momentum from them. The Bengals then came out and scored straight away in the second half, and it was only a 1-score game. I think that field goal would have made a big difference. But in saying that, though, if they had scored 21-0, almost
huge margin.
So I can see.
And when you're 2 scores up, the coach has that choice. Like, when you're 2 scores up, the coach has that choice to go either way. And if you fuck it, like, there's only us blokes sitting in Australia saying that he should have went for it. Whereas, like, if he gets it, then he's a genius. Like, it could go either way. If that was if they were 7-0, then you would find that they would have kicked it 100%.
Yeah, I think
2 scores. 2 scores gives them luxury.
Yeah, and look, it was a good game. I enjoyed it. Good. Was okay.
It was watchable. Like, I didn't think it was going to be watchable at all, but I actually rather enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. But,
won't be my game of the week though.
Bengals at 3-1. Bengals at 3-1. Who would have thought? Probably most people. They've played dog shit teams. So let's move on to the first game of the morning slate tomorrow. We have got the Titans going to the New York Jets. Now, injuries are going to play have a big impact in this game. Both Julio Jones and AJ Brown are out for the Titans. That's their two elite receivers. Is it going to be enough for the Jets? It's a start. It's a start for the Jets. Now, if the Jets can play well on offense and put some points up and put some pressure on Tannehill, we'll see. But they still do have the unstoppable force that is Derrick Henry, King Henry. And I genuinely said not wanting to go too over the top. I think the Titans are still going to kick the living crap out of the
I was going to say, the Titans still have their second, third, and fourth strings in all positions. So I think that they've got the Jets well covered. Unfortunately, the Jets are still, I think, 12 months off even having a significant improvement. Whereas the Titans, two of their best receivers being off is fine because their next three blokes will still get the job done against the Jets. So I wouldn't be concerned if I was a Titans fan. They are going into the Jets, and as you know, traveling across the country and going into someone's home stadium is not the easiest ask. So it might look closer on paper than it actually is. But I think the Titans will get this done pretty easy.
Yeah, I think we're both taking the Titans here. For me, it's going to be this is the sort of game where the Jets could hang around and make it interesting. Like, this is the sort of the game that the Titans would drop. But
home game, Titans are traveling.
I think just
a couple of injuries.
Tannehill's still there. They're going to be able to run the ball pretty well. And then defensively, the Titans are pretty solid, and we've seen the Jets really, really struggle on offense. Like, Zach Wilson would have to play outstanding, and they need to do a lot. So we'll see. But I think we're both taking the Titans comfortably there.
Absolutely.
Game number 2, Chiefs at the Eagles. Chiefs are coming off 2 really disappointing losses. They're 1-2. They're bottom of the division. Eagles are coming off just a fucking drumming from the just like they hung in there for a little bit, and then the Cowboys just went into.
I was going to say there wouldn't be many folds that had much dirt left after the bathing that the Cowboys gave the Eagles. So, and the Chiefs are coming back. The Chiefs being still, for me, are still my top 3 and actually taking out the Super Bowl this year.
Chiefs are winning that division. They're like a bad tipped ball that got intercepted and a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble from being thrown away.
Well, very true. So I think the Eagles' problems, I guess, going to just keep going. The Chiefs are going to come out and just absolutely destroy. Scotty mentioned that before too. So it's funny. I thought, like, so when I embarrassed my wife about her diploma being up in the back of the wall, she took it down.
Horsey with by far. Horsey, you have been on fucking fire.
I'll grab it. I'll grab it.
Get it. You need to get it now. Horsey, with all seriousness, you have been absolutely on fire the last couple of weeks. I'm going to strike and eat my lunch on the road. No one tell Coots. But more importantly, we both taking the Chiefs to kick the living shit out of the Eagles.
Yes. I do think there's not going to be much of a game to this one, unfortunately. So
is that home? Think that it is at home, but I can't see the Chiefs going.
Which basically just means that the City are going to be on edge just in case their own fans burn it down again. So that's the only thing that means. Otherwise, Mahomes is going to come in. He needs to get a win. They're 1-2. He needs to come in and actually make a statement to show people that they're not actually bad this year, which is a ridiculous statement. So I think it's going to be another bath. There's a few baths coming up. At least people get clean, mate.
Yeah, there's some baths. What won't be a bath, and I think has the potential to be when we do the podcast tomorrow night, DJ, I reckon this may be a game of the week. Certainly a candidate for it. I'm torn by this because you know, DJ, how much I'm in love with the Panthers at the moment. They've been my babies. I put them in the
basically talk about them every time we talk.
No one thought they were going to be good, and I'm hanging my hat on the fact that I think now, have they played great opposition? No, they played the Texans and the Jets. But they beat the Saints. They beat the Saints pretty handily, and the Saints are a good team. And
they've played systematically well. Like, they've made good plays. They've been pretty well coached on both sides of the ball. They've been solid. They haven't done anything spectacular, but they've got the job done. So I'd expect them to come out and actually have a very, very close game with the Cowboys. I think traveling into the Cowboys is going to be the struggle for them. I think the Cowboys at their home stadium might just get over the line here by under a score. And that's from someone that hates the Cowboys. Like, I hate them. CMC is still out. CMC is actually going to be. Did he get put on IR? Like, I think he's actually out.
He'll be a fight. Yeah, he's on the IR that you can do the 3-week boomerang IR. I like to call it.
Yeah, so he's off for at least a few weeks, and so that's why CMC is a huge deal to that offense anyway. So for me, the Cowboys will, like I said, will win by a small margin. Dak being able to play at home, we just saw him on the weekend. He's just another level. Like him, and it's awesome. I think Zeke finally knocked out some of the rust. I think that your Cowboys offense is just going to roll. So for me, I'd say I'll take the Cowboys for a score.
I watched a great video during the week. It's about.
Was it on RedTube?
No, I watch a lot of great videos on RedTube. They're high quality too. No, this was Brett Coleman, who, if you don't know him, he's an outstanding YouTuber, does a lot of football breakdown. He did a video on the Panthers defense right now is run defense. Is historically the best defense in the history of the NFL. And if they continue on the way they're going, which I don't think will continue quite to that level, but if they can continue on this level, they will break the record for least rushing yards allowed in a season by 300 yards, and they'll play an extra game. That's including the extra game. That's how good their defense is.
That's so crazy.
This is what I mean. And this is where the Cowboys, week one, Prescott was outstanding and he threw all over the place. Are they going to try and do that again? Or are they going to go, no, we're going to run on you fuckers? And that's what always gets them in trouble in the past, when they go, we're going to run on them, no matter what, we're going to run on them. And then they get in long situations, put Prescott in crappy situations, and it creates turnovers. I want to see them go in like they did, because I don't think their pass defense can stop our pass attack.
No.
Genuinely don't think it can. So I want to see them go in, use Prescott to get short yards and short touchdowns, and Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard for that sort of stuff. But you cannot just be like, we're going to run all over this team, because I don't think you can on the Panthers. I think they're too good and they're dedicated to stopping it. So you've got to make them come out of their routine. And this is where this is the first test we're going to see how Mike McCarthy's coaching, has it improved, or is it the same old Mike McCarthy with how he attacks this game? And he needs to do it through the air. You cannot run on this.
Well, I think that's interesting, because the Panthers offense runs a lot with actual pass backs. So I know that the actual their defense is not very good against pass backs, I should say. They're really, really good against actually stopping the traditional downhill run game. And with Pollard in the backfield, it actually adds that second dimension to be able to do a lot of those pass catching bubbles and screens around the edges that he's been doing really well at and making a ton of yards. So I think the traditional run game, yes, the Panthers would absolutely have them covered. However, I don't think that they're going to be running that. They're going to be probably doing a lot of play action, which is when Dak is at his best, his absolute best. So I actually think it's going to be an awesome game to watch, and I'm going to peg this for game of the week. Not just purely because you're a homer for Cowboys and you ask every week if you can have the Cowboys as the game of the week. But I genuinely, you actually sometimes don't. But I genuinely think this is going to be one of the games of the week to watch, because it's going to be two of the most evenly balanced sides playing off against each other.
And big ramifications here for the Cowboys. They do not want to fall to 2-2. They 3-1.
Not in that division. They could afford to drop one, because the division, as you know, is a dumpster truck fire, as I like to say. So the fact that they might drop one is okay. But I think for the Panthers needing to keep a foot on that accelerator, they need to go in and get this upset to really continue that projection that we're looking at, because their back end is really hard.
I'm kind of torn, because I really want the Panthers to make the playoffs because of how high I am on them, and this win would really help them. Getting to 4-0 would really help them, and getting this win, it would set them up nicely. But on the other hand, I don't want this is a bigger win for the Panthers than a loss for the Cowboys, if that makes sense. The Cowboys losing this is not a bigger deal as the Panthers winning it, because the Cowboys then get some crappy teams in the next couple of weeks. They can get it right. They can get some wins under their belt and get going. Whereas the Panthers are going on a lot harder schedule. They'll have the Bucks a couple of times, that sort of stuff. So they need to get these.
Their back end is actually extremely hard. Like you guys brought it up in prediction shows. I mean, we went through it last week.
Last week, their first 8 games is like every one of them, other than the Cowboys game. I think every one of them they should win. And then the Cowboys games are 50-50 for me. So
until week 9.
Yeah, then it gets really difficult for them. So they need
to. Scott Anthony D says, "What is wrong with Cooper? Killing me in fantasy after a huge week 1."
He hurt his
ribs. He hurt his ribs, but then also don't forget that week 2, Dallas went, dip and dunk. They went run hard, run heavy, and they basically said, "Hey, come and stop us." They couldn't. So they literally went a completely opposite offense to what they did week 1. So I think that's what the issue, I guess you might say, with Amari Cooper. Whereas I don't think that's really an issue. He's just getting back from rib injury, and if anyone's had one, tell you what, you can't breathe very well.
The problem with Cooper as a fantasy prospect. So last year he had just over 1,000 yards. He had 3 200-yard games. So more than half his yards for the season were made up in 3 games. That is the problem with Cooper as a fantasy guy. It's just how it works. Yeah. Now, I said I'm no fantasy football expert, but if I was,
have you won a championship before?
No, I haven't. Never lost those.
Haven't you? Have you not won a championship before?
Hey,
well, I tell you what,
lost the league, DJ. Just out of curiosity,
how many times have you to be fair, I on Christmas Day in 2018, I won the league.
So
I won by 75 points.
Lost it? How many times have you lost?
I decided I wanted to partake in a sacco punishment twice, and so I decided to allow myself to not score as much as the opposition.
And I've never missed out on finals. So consistency is the key for me, DJ. You know that.
No, name on a trophy. I have my name 3 times. 3 times, name on a trophy.
3 times, 2 for losing.
Let's tell you what, though. Let's do a part of the game.
The Giants.
Oh yeah, here we go. These are the absolute bigger losers.
Can I give you something, DJ? Can I comment you with something here? And it's happened.
A gun with a single bullet.
It's happened the last few weeks. You can't shoot Gettleman and Mara with 1 bullet. It's come in the last few weeks, and I've got a bit of a feeling, DJ. I got a feeling here.
If you think that the Giants are going into the Saints and winning.
Well, they're not going into the Saints. The Saints aren't allowed to play in their stadium, remember? The Saints, the shine has come off the Saints, right? The Bucks have...
Where's the game at? I want to have a look. Where's the game at?
I think it's at Jacksonville again. But
is that a closed roof or not?
No, it's open, I think. It's in Florida, so it'll be open. But the shine's come off the Saints. Winston's dog shit. I don't care what anyone tells me. He turns the ball over. Giants are going to generate turnovers. They're not a bad defense at all. They're 0-3, so they're backed in the corner. And I said, I don't like the Saints. I don't like them at all. And I've just got this feeling about them. I've got the feeling that, I've got the feeling that...
I don't know how you have... I don't know how you have that feeling. Like, the Giants don't have any receivers playing apart from my best mate, Kadarius Toney.
Isn't Golladay playing?
Of course he is, but he's throwing the toys out of the cot at the moment, so I don't know really how he's going to go. Sterling Shep and Darius Slayton, like when you're wide receiver 2 and 3 are out with injury, and they've already got all their problems already, the Saints defense are going to score more than the Giants offense. So... No.
I'm telling you, mate,
look, you do get these weird Nostradamus feelings. So I'm going to just go and throw $5 on the Giants.
Do it.
I don't bet. I have literally $7.58 in my sports bet account from last Super Bowl day. I'm going to put it all on the Giants head to head because of your feeling. And you know what? I'll make $40, I reckon, from that because they would be going at such ridiculous odds because my stinky Giants are shit.
Well, the Giants' strength, right, is their defensive line. Yeah, they have a good defensive line.
They're front 7.
Yep. So look at the fact that Eric McCoy, their starting center's out for the Saints, and their All-Pro left tackle Tron Armstead's out too. They're missing 2 of their 5 guys on that line. They are huge things to miss. Look at the Eagles last week. Cowboys' crummy defensive line got a ton of pressure because the backups were in. It's
one of our second round picks. I can never remember his name. Aziz. I can't. Sorry, I'm trying to remember his name. And look, he actually did an amazing job last week against a pretty difficult offensive line. So I think that if that's the case, if they can make a good lineup option, then we might put enough pressure on Jameis Winston and just counteract that LASIK surgery, and he might just start throwing bullets to our secondary. That's the only way we're going to freaking win, mate.
Ojulari.
Yeah, sorry. Like I don't mean to be insensitive, but I just could never remember that. Jer's back.
I shouldn't act surprised. He's messaging me right now too, asking if he comments will come up. Jerry, of course it comes up, mate. Great to see you in here. Jerry, all the way from Ireland, absolutely one of the long-time listeners of the Bowl. Love your work, Jerry.
Is Jerry in Ireland?
Yeah, he's Ireland. He's
no wonder he never got the shirt you sent him.
Ireland. No, he got it. I got it to him.
But they stole it at the border.
It came back, and I got it to him. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jerry. Jerry, I think he got it. I'm pretty sure.
I might quickly just point out Regan's comment of.
Who are you picking? I'm picking Giants. I got a feeling.
I'm picking, mate. I'm the worst homer in the world. I'm picking Saints by 2+ scores. Like, if you're a betting man, throw it all on the Saints.
You're a fool. You're a fool.
I have to be, mate, because you know what? If I bet against my team, then I win no matter what. Unless it's a draw, in which case I think we've done pretty well if we've drawn. No, I think the Giants are a long way away, mate.
DJ, I don't often get these feelings, but more importantly, I get them all the time.
I know. That's why I don't like these weird feelings you get, because they don't make any sense until they come up true.
Paige Cardonia laughed at me when I said the Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs.
Mate, I was watching from home and I laughed at you.
Everyone.
I went, a few too many of those Burnleys there, mate. That's all right.
Make the Clovers in Ireland. Let's move on to the Browns.
Sorry, I haven't seen the comments.
Is this a danger game for the Vikings? Browns at Vikings? I feel like it's a danger one.
Absolutely. I think this is actually going to be a really closely matched game. Because, look, the Vikings themselves on offense, they're extremely vanilla. Delvin Cook is still a 50-50. He's doubtful at the moment.
I think they've ruled him out.
I don't know if they ruled him out. The last injury report I read by Dr. Moore, whoever the main football injury list man was that he's a game day decision. But in saying that, even if he is, he'll have less active participation. They've got Madison still in the backfield. Like, Madison he's a long-term secondary.
Looked like Cook 2.0 last week, didn't he?
He's quite good. The only reason why he's not starting is because Dalvin Cook is in the same backfield. He's been there for 5 years now, so he's actually quite a journeyman. So I think that their run game will still be very similar. Less chances for those breakout, ridiculous plays that Dalvin Cook makes. But the Browns are rolling. The Browns are a ridiculously strong team. So for me, I think the Browns are going in to Minnesota and taking this win. But this will be another one of my 50-50 game of the weeks for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Look, I'm going to take the Browns just because they're a lot more talented. Miles Garrett could just destroy that Vikings offensive line. They're pretty stout against the run. I'm going to take the Browns here, but this is a danger game for the Browns. It really is. And the Vikings really need it. They really need it right now. So it's a big one. Let's go to the next crummy game. Lions at Bears. Yes. Question I've got for you is, who fucking cares? Honestly.
Well, that was kind of, when I was looking at this game, one of my notes was literally don't give a fuck about who wins this one, because basically Justin Fields has been pegged as the starter, and I'm not exactly sure if that's because
they're waiting on Dalton. Dalton's a game.
No, I think is he? Because I thought Nagy named him as a starter a few hours ago, I thought, from reading the report. But look, Dalton's still a 50-50 for his health. And if Dalton was 100% healthy, I think they'll be going back to him straight away. I think this is actually going to be a game that the Lions go in and win. The Lions have been playing pretty good football the past 2 weeks. They have lost in the end, but they've kept up with a few pretty decent teams and decent defenses and offenses. So I think the Lions go in here and give me the Lions, boys, at least a score. I think that their backfield is looking really good. The Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift combo, I think,
is really good.
They've got that sorted.
This helmet here, absolute.
Did you have a DeAndre Swift?
I just got it before this season. Now, this one here, Sam Darnold, hasn't quite worked out for me the way I wanted it to. But the Swift helmet,
will.
that might get some value. I think might grow a little bit.
I love your coordination with being able to point in your background. Like I can
Well,
point to this. I can point to this feng shui plant that Horsey
It's
pointed
all
out
the wrong
before.
way. It's a beautiful plant. It's a Turak plant by the looks of it.
It's lucky. It's lucky bamboo.
Lucky bamboo, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It is lucky
trying
bamboo, and it's
so
alive.
hard to make a joke right now.
I
So
don't know
hard.
why. I don't know what you'll be thinking about.
Because I don't think it's polite on Facebook for what I want to say. And I'm sure Scotty and Horsey are now getting the absolute sign. Let's move on. Let's move on to
the comments are coming too fast for me to read them.
Mate, they're off the rails. DJ has a diploma in forestry. That might be the best one. Let's go to Texans at Bills. Another shit game. Like, I just don't see the Bills are gonna fucking drum these bums. Like
at home in Buffalo.
Yeah, they're going to destroy him. This is going to be an embarrassment. Like they destroyed.
Is Tyrod though? Is he healthy now? Tyrod?
No, he's not playing.
Mills did a few good things, but Mills looks very vanilla. I don't think they made very good coaching decisions for him. I don't think they made very good play calling on his offense to actually give him the opportunity to succeed. So maybe they've gone in and actually maybe this whole game against the Bills is going to be as opposed to trying to win, they're going to try to build a system around him that might work this year. A few more bubbles and screens and crossing routes and all those kind of things that help junior quarterbacks. So I'm thinking that that's what they'll be doing the whole game, and they're not going to really be too stressed about the scoreline.
No.
It's all going to be about developing Mills for the next couple of years. But the Bills are just going to smack them.
Oh, they're going to destroy him. It's going to be really bad.
I don't know if 900 points is realistic, but I'm going to say maybe half of that. But it's
I reckon Regan's spot on. I'm actually putting a bet on right now, a 900 plus. Sports better taking it so quickly, surprisingly.
And you know what? I think was Devin Singletary is getting benched this week. So
yeah, they're going to go complete Zach Moss attack.
We're going to look at Zach Moss, and I think Zach Moss is the better weapon in that backfield. So they're going to really try to get as many snaps as possible watching them. Texans have as much chance of winning as DJ does in keeping that plant alive. Well, in that case, I'm going to have to take the Texans as a smoky, because have you ever grown bamboo, Horsey?
You can't kill it, can you?
You can't kill it.
Yeah, it's unkillable.
You can't kill it.
You know you can eat bamboo if you're a panda bear.
I guess pandas are my spirit animal.
You do look like
it does make sense, to be fair.
But look, take the Bills.
The Bills by just a severe margin.
There's some crappy games this week, honestly. I don't think this is one of them though. Colts at Dolphins. The 0-3 Colts, 1-2 Dolphins. Both teams are kind of really the loss here for the Colts. This is season over if they lose this game, and for the Dolphins, it's not over, but they would really want to be 2-2 over being 1-3. So this is huge for both these teams, both trying to keep up in their divisions. The Colts they're a bit banged up. I don't know if they've got much talent on offense, and it's really hurting them at the moment. Nelson is now on IR, their left guard, as Scott just said. So it's not good. This thing. Carson Wentz is pretty banged up.
So Carson Wentz's high ankle injuries from 2 weeks ago. It's actually in dual ankles, high strains, and that he played last week. And look, I didn't think he played particularly bad, but in this new age, QBs have to be more mobile than he showed last week. And I don't think that he's going to be able to, unfortunately. T.Y. Hilton being out still is a pretty big loss to that wide receiver core. Pittman's exciting to watch, but he shouldn't be the number one receiver there. He should be actually trying to, develop into that. Michael Pittman Jr., he's pretty good. But not having a QB is massive. Like the Dolphins have Tua out as well. So
the Dolphins. This is a Jacob Brisket revenge game.
It is.
He'll still sort them out, and then he'll smoke them, and then smoke himself.
I think Riggs, this is one of the ones you can actually tick off as a win, buddy.
This is but it's still such a losable game for the Dolphins. This is the sort of games they lose when they're playing a team that's all banged up at home. These are the games.
But isn't that sad? I know it is the NFL, so any team can win on any day. But I'd be highly surprised if the Colts actually came into Miami and won. I think the Dolphins' defense is just a bit too too strong against a pretty lackluster Colts offense. I know Jonathan Taylor's okay, but the Dolphins have a pretty good defense. So
yeah, I think the Dolphins will win this. And I unfortunately, as someone who I like the Colts and I have them in the playoffs, and we've got our Mulligans coming tomorrow night, DJ. So they might be.
Lovely!
Sorry,
I look forward to that.
Week 5's the Mulligans. Sorry, I think I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, they're coming.
I'm pretty sure you've written a rundown somewhere. I'm sure.
I have.
Horsey, we need a segment where DJ nominates the next generational talent out of the two teams playing. Now that I can do easily. I have so many generational talents that are coming out of everywhere.
Generational talent out of Washington and the Falcons?
Chase Young, easy.
He's already a talent though. You're not
exactly. Oh, do I have to pick out another person?
We'll call it DJ goes Justin Herbert. That's what we got to call it. But
so that's hard because when we get to the Chargers, Justin Herbert was the bloke that I got it right about.
But it's easy. This is easy. It's Matt Ryan.
Cole Pitts would be the
potential,
the highest potential of becoming that generational talent, really.
Fitzy made the same joke as me at the same time.
I love that. I find that very fun.
Washington,
your brain is that of a 75-year-old. Good job, JR.
I think he just turned 81. He's doing great just to keep it all together, old Fitz. I'm proud of him.
Exactly right.
Taking Will Dissly in the 6th round of the draft is, it's because he's getting old. His brain's failing.
Poor Fitzy, love you.
Bit of pressure on Washington. Yeah, bit of pressure on them. They defensively,
I absolutely agree.
Terrible defensively, which is what they're supposed to be good at, and they've been dreadful. And the Falcons have the ability to be a very good offense. They need to actually stop. This is the game Washington have to come in and prove to me that they're a good defense still by stopping this Falcons offense. And I'm taking the Falcons at home. I do not think Washington are good. I think Heineke really struggles. I think he'll turn it over a few times. They got drummed last week. I don't rate them at all, Washington, and I think the Falcons are going to beat them at home.
Do you really?
The season. I do. I don't like them.
Look, I have to disagree. I don't think the Falcons are any good at all. I think that on paper, their offense looks pretty good on paper, but we've watched 3 weeks now, and 2 of those 3 weeks, that offense didn't perform. Don't know if it was their O-line, just couldn't keep Matty Ice on his feet.
I'm looking on my own here. Look, the Washington's defense is the 30th ranked defense in the NFL.
True, but they're Heineke. Look, Heineke, obviously, he's not as good as Fitzmagic.
They can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. They can't do anything. I'm telling you, Washington are not a good football team, or they're not playing like a good football team.
Look, as a Giants supporter, I'm really hopeful they're not, because we might not be the last team in our division. But I still think when the front 7 of the Washington's defense is getting going, Matty Ice can't throw a ball on the run. He literally needs to sit in his pocket and step into his throws. Otherwise, he can't do anything on that offense.
This is the problem. They haven't gotten going. But that's what I mean. This is the game that tells me whether they're good or not.
So this might actually be an extremely close affair, but literally two blind kids hitting each other with sticks and seeing who's going to win.
Falcons are almost better in every single position, but defensive line and defensive. Basically, every offensive position, the Falcons are better. They have a terrible line.
Look, I was going to say the O lines are both really bad.
I like Terry McLaurin, but I take Ridley.
I'll take Calvin Ridley for me.
So it's not that Washington are bad. And then quarterback, I think Matt Ryan over Taylor Heineke any day of the week. I think people really sleep on how good Matt Ryan's career has been. He's an incredible player.
It sounds ridiculous because Matt Ryan 5 years ago is not Matt Ryan today. Quarterbacks fall off the cliff at some point, and Matt Ryan has been falling off the cliff. I would watch Scotty. I would watch 2 blind kids playing with sticks over this game.
That is exactly right.
Scotty, 100, as I said, 100%. Literally, maybe we need to get that video together and we can throw bets on it because that would be more entertaining than this one.
You're right. We're spending. I think that's a good.
Too much time. And look, however, my one thing might be is my only prediction is I'm going to say Washington come in and win. However, Cole Pitts is finally going to have a productive game. He's going to be one of those. Oh, he's now a superstar. He got 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, purely because they were playing against a crappy team.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Seahawks now we're getting into the afternoon games or the late morning games. Also 4 a.m. kickoff tomorrow, guys, not 3 a.m. Daylight savings.
Don't forget daylight savings. Anyone with a young child hasn't forgotten.
Yeah, anyone in Australia, it's a 4 a.m. kickoff now, which is that extra hour is nice. 4 a.m.
So
just
good.
doesn't feel like it's 3 a.m. You know what I mean? 3 a.m. feels like the middle of the night. 4 a.m. you can convince me it's morning. You know what I mean?
Week one, I had like adrenaline pumping right up to my nostrils.
Yeah, last
And
week I
so
fell
3
asleep
a.m.
in
was
this
fine.
chair. I fell asleep in this chair last week watching at 3 a.m. Like,
That's impressive.
It was rough. I was just like this. That's how I was
Wow.
asleep. People would have thought I was dead. My neck was so sore.
I swear you don't sleep like that. I swear you sleep like this.
Like this.
Like I've seen you like sit on a beer like that once before. So I'm swear that you sleep like that. 100%.
You have
Can't
not
trick
seen
me, mate.
this
Can't
beer.
trick me.
Yeah.
You're a hairdresser once. I saw you.
I'm still a hairdresser. And Brock is very lucky. That's all I'm going to say. He's very lucky. Let's get back on this game. Seahawks.
Oh, sorry. There's a game we're talking about.
Seahawks, the last couple of weeks, their second halves have been the most embarrassing of any team in the NFL. Like, honestly, I don't know what they're doing in the second half. They had 33 points scored on them last week in the second half by the Minnesota Vikings without Dalvin Cook. They got ran all over. I don't know. I wasn't high on the Seahawks, but I do like them. Like, I think they've got players, but then this is a tough battle. You're going into a 49ers team who, almost beat Green Bay last year. It took Aaron Rodgers' brilliance to lose to them. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing as well as he's ever played. They've got this young quarterback pushing him from behind, lunch tray. Their defense is solid. Nick Bosa hasn't got going yet, so we'll see if that happens this week. But defensively, they're pretty good. They run the ball well. They have big plays. They can generate big plays. I'm struggling to find out where the Seahawks win this matchup in any area.
So I feel that Russell Wilson is one of those absolute. Everyone knows it. Don't even need to say it. He's a live wire. They can put a team on his back and win. He's also someone who can run away from that pretty intimidating front seven of the 49ers.
But he's losing. That's what I'm saying. That he's losing that spark because I think it's getting beaten out of him.
I don't look. Last week, I didn't think that he did that very well. Whereas the first 2 weeks, like he rolled out enough that DK Metcalf was yards clear. Tyler Lockett was literally absolute freakishly good in week 1 and 2. So like realistically, I think both Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are active this week. So I think Lockett had an injury. Yeah. But I think they're both active. And for me, the Seahawks have their run game is solid at the moment. Their passing game is standard. They get a couple of breakout plays that a lot of teams who don't have DK Metcalf don't get. However, the 49ers, their defense hasn't been as impressive as we thought it would be. Nick Bosa hasn't come back from his knee injury and just dominated every single snap. So I coming from Seattle and going into to the 49ers isn't a huge travel. So there shouldn't be much of a home field advantage. So it's going to be a 50-50 for me. And I'm going to take the 49ers for the points that you brought up. I think that if Mitchell comes back and plays, I think that'll be a huge boost to their run game. Deebo Samuel's having a great year. Kittle, I think he's still a 50-50 on a game day decision. And like you said, Jimmy G is having a career year. He has to, because otherwise he's not going to gig next year.
So I'm actually thinking this might not be at the 49ers.
Well, he might not have had a gig if he didn't play like he was this year. He hasn't shown much the past few years, but this year he's actually showing that he's a stock standard. I think he's better than, say, a Kirk Cousins. I think he's really better than just a game manager. So I'm thinking the 49ers win this, but in a very small margin. And look, I think the Seahawks, they get one of their few losses this year because I think they're a lot stronger than they look on paper.
If they lose this, they're 1-3. They're in real trouble in that division because that division could potentially all be 3-0. I know the Cardinals Rams play, so it couldn't.
Yeah, that will be come up to that in a sec.
It's going to be tough, but all that being said, there's something about division games. There's something about the Seahawks, their backs to the wall. Something about Russell Wilson's never lost 3 straight games in a row.
Oh, really? Is that a stat?
Yep, he's 15-4 career record against San Fran. It's the most wins versus any single opponent. I'm taking Seattle. Keep their season alive. And get them I
love all of those superstitions because if you're an elite athlete, there's not much difference between you and the next elite athlete opposite you, and superstitions tend to just, for some reason, just edge things out. So if that's the case. Like, I'm not going to take the Seahawks just on that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Divisional games, it always ends up being a 50-50, no matter how shit you are. Don't forget the years that Dolphins beat the Patriots when the Patriots were really good, the Dolphins were really shit.
They
So
always
literally
steal one.
divisional games, anything could happen. But I
Yeah.
still take the 49ers. Look, like I said, home field advantage isn't massive, but I think they edge them out.
Yeah, give me Seattle. And let's move on to another NFC West barn burner. Cardinals at
Excited for
Rams.
this one.
I think you struggle to find two better teams that are humming as well as these guys. Like, I think, especially offensively, you've got probably the two quarterbacks who are MVP candidates at this point in Stafford and Kyler Murray. The Cardinals aren't as good defensively, but I'm still, Rams are obviously top loaded with Donald and Ramsey, but the Cardinals are a bit more consistent around. They're very similar teams, very built very similar. And you've got Kyler Murray, who can just run all over defenses. He's very hard to sack. He's very hard to pressure. Hopkins seems to be healthier. Kirk's emerging. AJ Green's been okay. Rondale Moore looks like he's a solid draft pick in the slot. Kind of is what everyone thought he was. They're improved on the O-line. Their defensive guys are improved. Xavier Collins looks like a good middle linebacker. Isaiah Simmons is now getting some stuff done, making some plays for them on defense. 2-3-0 teams. This game's going to go a long way to deciding who wins this division, I think, because they'll play each other again, and this is the Rams' home field. I don't know. I want to say the Cardinals, but I just think the Rams at home are going to be a bit strong for him. I think Stafford's just a bit more solid, and the Rams defense has the potential to create a few turnovers, and the Cardinals might not with a guy like Stafford throwing the ball, whereas Kyler Murray's younger. He's a bit more prone to making mistakes in his career. So I think that might be the difference. A couple of turnovers by the Rams defense could change this game, very similar to what they did to the Bucs last week. So I'm really excited for this game. This is one I'll certainly be watching very closely.
Yeah, so I feel like both of these defenses and offenses don't match up very well. So the Rams defense is so strong because of the ridiculous internal line pressure that defense get onto quarterbacks. They collapse pockets so quickly. However, they're playing against Kyler Murray. He doesn't even know what a pocket is. Like he basically has kept all of his suits with the sewed up pockets. He just doesn't have a fucking clue what a pocket is. Like he literally doesn't even sit in there for a second.
He wears ladies' suits like Michael Scott.
He basically just wears like the leotard from Cool Runnings. And so I don't actually think that the strength of the Rams defense is normally that disruption at the front end. And I don't think they're going to get that against Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray, he doesn't really respect that kind of play style. I think that what you bring up though is that the Rams offense is at the moment supercharged. Like they look good on every aspect of that offense. They're well coached. They're well drilled. They've got Stafford, who's making really good decisions. Him and Cooper Kupp are sharing a brain, which is awesome to see. They've got Darrell Henderson back. So I think that their run game will be back on point as well. So I'm thinking the Rams are going to eke this one out, but I don't think it's going to be because of the Rams defense. I think that the Cardinals are still going to put up a whole bunch of points. The big difference for me is if that front seven of the Cardinals can get to Stafford.
Yeah,
that would be my big question. If they can get to Stafford, if they do the Chandler Jones 5-sack from week 1, then that'll make a huge difference. However, for me, I think that the Rams will be too well coached at home, slight advantage, and they'll eke one out.
I agree with you, mate. I think it's going to be a close game. Rams at home for me. Let's go and talk about the stinky Steelers. I can't see their season turning around here at the Packers going into Lambeau. In the past, this would have been a great game. You've got the Steelers going to freezing cold Lambeau.
Super Bowl replay,
yes.
From 2015, 14, 13, 12, 11.
It'd be like 11. I think it was 11. It was my
Hey, look, Jordy Nelson got the first touchdown because I copied Richie's bet. I copied his bet at the TAB. That's the only bet I made because I don't know anything about betting. Jordy Nelson got the first touchdown. So that's all I've got from that Super Bowl replay. It's got to be a crap game.
I think the Packers will drum them. Aaron Rodgers has played pretty much better than anyone in the NFL the last couple of weeks. He's really shut up. Had a great game against the 49ers last week. Huge second half against, I know it was in the Lions, but a huge second half against the Lions. They seem to have found their rhythm. They're running the ball well. They're protecting Rodgers, and he's just carving up teams. And I think it continues this week. Steelers are a solid defense. I don't think TJ Watt's playing from what I've seen.
No, he actually was still on the injury list. However, do you give any credence to the fact that the Steelers' two best wide receivers are now active? Juju and Deontay Johnson are now both active this week.
Is Roethlisberger playing?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, then I couldn't give a shit who their receivers are.
Now, I have to say this for anyone. I know that Mike Davison in our chat at the moment is probably already giving a shit for teasing the Steelers. I know Skinny is writing his haiku about the Steelers and how wonderful they are. There we go. Mark Davidson. Sorry, it's not Mike. Mark Davidson.
TJ Watt's playing.
Oh well, look, TJ Watt playing.
That's a big in. That's a big in.
We'll make it a lot. We'll make it a lot closer. Claypool's out this week. However, I think if they have number one and number two receiver being in is a bigger win for them. I just don't think they can go up against the Packers, who are now rolling. That offense is rolling. Aaron Jones as well as Devontae Adams. Even if Devontae Adams, even though Richie thinks that he's not very good, I still think that offense is going to roll over the Steelers. I think it's going to be probably a 2-score game, to be honest with you. So the Packers come out here and give them a wallop, unfortunately, for the poor old Steelers.
I think Packers at home. They're coming across, they're not playing well, and they're coming across the Steelers at the worst possible time. So I think it's bad.
I love that David Fitzgerald's comment and his actual photo actually might look like him.
I thought that was him. Might not be.
Old bald backbencher from the Libs.
Let's go to what could be a good game and should be a good game. You've got the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson a little bit dinged up, which could be a problem. They're going to the 3-0 Denver Broncos. They haven't beaten anyone good, mind you. This is a real test. This is like similar to what I said about Washington, seeing if their defense is real. This is when we're going to find out what the Broncos are defensively. Von Miller was a defensive player of the month, which was very well deserved. Their defense has been lights out. They've got a different beast coming at them this week, and that's the Ravens and that running attack. Lamar Jackson is outstanding. He's almost unstoppable.
We saw him sick though last week. Like
he wasn't as good last week.
And they did say he was sick, and he did look sick. He looked slower. He looked like he wasn't making the same reaction times, the same choices. And if he's still a 50-50 against one of the top 4 defenses in the league at the moment. I know you think that the Broncos are the best defense right now, but also they're in the top 3 to 5 defenses in the league right now. You need to have your MVP quarterback literally popping. And as you know, Teddy Roosevelt, he's a game manager. He literally just checks down. The Ravens defense haven't been as strong this year as previous years as we thought they might be. So I think it might be pretty close. And going into the Broncos, I think the Ravens are losing this one.
Mile High is really tough. It's a tough place to go and play. Everyone doesn't know the altitude's really high, so it's hard to get used to. If you're a visiting team, the Broncos have a big advantage there. Lamar's dinged up. He's sick. But I just can't help and think about the Lamar 2 weeks ago when he did to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think any defenses, there's no defense that are actually made for that Lamar.
No, there's not.
If he comes out and he turns that switch on, I don't think a single defense in the league can beat him at all.
However, people say, they were bad last week. He missed a wide open Mark Andrews, and Marquise Brown dropped 3 touchdowns. Like they should have won that game.
That's true, actually. He actually put it into Marquise Brown's hands 3 times too.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns. And he missed Mark Andrews terribly in the end zone, but that's what I mean.
Yeah, but the Hollywood Brown though, but like they literally were in his hands, or one of them I think hit him in the numbers.
Terrible drops, 3 easy touchdowns. I think that all being said, I'm taking the Ravens on the road. I just like the Ravens. I don't think the Broncos are going to be able to score enough points. Like the Broncos only scored 20 points on the Jaguars. Like they're not good.
Look, that's true. Unfortunately, you do tend to play as good as the team you're facing. So I don't know whether they took a foot off the pedal.
Are they going to play up to the? Are they going to?
I would say so. And look. Answer me this though: Javonte Williams for the Broncos. He has been sneaky the best running back in the class. I know like Najee Harris has been solid, and last week he had a really good game. But for me, Javonte Williams has been the gold star in that running back class. and he's been having a phenomenal 3 weeks. So I think they've got a pretty decent run game. So I actually I think the Broncos are going to eke this one out. So I've said eke this one out a few times now. I don't have a diploma in vocabulary, Horsey and Scotty.
They're big on this diploma, and
they are a little bit. I'm going to have to just.
They scored.
Have to go earn a few more.
27-13 over the Giants, week 1. Giants.
That's against the Giants.
And they've beaten the Jaguars 23-13, and they've beaten the Jets 26-0. Literally, the Jets and the Jets. None of those teams have a win yet.
Look, they could theoretically be 3 practice games, really.
Exactly. So you're telling me they're now going to? I said, and I like Denver. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be okay, but I just don't think this is the win for them. I think this is their first.
So do you think though that if they do, answer me this, if they do get this win against what we all have as a top 5, top 6 team in the league, if they do get this one and they do eat the Ravens out, I think that's what you said, Rex, wasn't it? That's exactly right. I will pull out. I'll get out my Tim Tebow Broncos jersey for the next podcast if they win.
Big 1-5. Yeah.
The Tim Tebow Broncos jersey. I've got it still.
Everything is in their favor here, right? They're at home. Lamar's sick, all that sort of stuff. And this is just the games where it doesn't go that way. These games never go that way. Whenever you think a team's got everything in their favor, they're 3-0, they're not. They're literally. You could just say they're 0-0. They have beaten the 3 worst teams.
They literally have beaten 3 practice teams.
And beaten them
for me, those 3 teams are shit. And one of them's mine, so I know it well.
Who are you taking?
Look, I'm taking the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos. I like the fact that their defense is really, really good and their offense is average. Yeah, teams win with a really good defense and an average offense. And I'm thinking that the Broncos are going to win and that we're going to be having this question of who is the worst 4-0 team next week.
Yeah.
It might be the Broncos.
Now, let's get to the Sunday night football game. And if this game isn't giving you goosebumps right now, I don't know what could give you goosebumps. Tom Brady going back to Foxborough for the first time. 6 Super Bowls he won for the New England Patriots. It didn't end on good terms. It wasn't publicly bad terms, but I think we all know it wasn't good terms because they didn't want him. He left. And he won a Super Bowl.
Did you see Tom Brady's dad give a little bit of shade at the Patriots?
There is some heat in this game. I'm telling you, the Patriots will want to win this game. This will be this will be the game of the week. Now, if the Patriots win this, it'll be the upset of the week. But then they've got this really big disadvantage, the Patriots. They're nowhere near as fucking good as the Bucs. And the Bucs are coming off a crap loss to the Rams.
Did you see Brian Arians' comment on the week?
That we've trained with a different intensity that we've never seen before.
And they said, "Is this because it's nothing?
It's because we lost."
That's exactly right. And look, I like that. Same. He's really good, and I think that the team are going to come back from that, and they're going to go and give the young Cork an absolute smack around the head. So I think that although everyone is pegging this up to be what was the other word I used, Rex? Everyone is literally saying that this is going to be a massive, massive game. I don't think it is. I actually think that the Bucs are going to have a whitewash. They're going to destroy the Patriots in Foxborough, which doesn't happen regularly. But they're going to come in and they're going to beat them by 3 scores because Tom Brady is out to prove a point. And they know that field really well. And the Patriots aren't exciting. I'm sorry, they're not exciting.
I'm taking the Bucs, but this is just one of those games. And this is unfortunately for the Patriots, right? If they lose this basically settles the argument of, is Tom Brady the reason they won in New England?
Bullshit. That is not the argument at all. It's a completely different
the argument. It's 100% the argument.
It's the narrative.
The narrative,
it's the narrative
was that he could take any team, any group of guys, and he could fucking win. Okay, that was the narrative, that he could set up a defense
with
to
Tom
win.
Brady there.
Exactly. So that's and then now the point is, the reason they won was because of Tom Brady. It wasn't because Belichick was doing.
I completely disagree. Like
this is what's gonna decide.
Eli Manning went and beat them in 2 Super Bowls, but that's
Exactly.
beside the
There's
that
the point.
literally has nothing to do with the argument. I just wanted to say it. But realistically, Belichick had built that empire from the ground up.
Mhm.
But Brady just happened to be an amazing piece to that entire empire that he built. But they also had an amazing defense that he built, and they had all of those things that he himself
This is
did.
the thing, though. This is the thing, right? In hindsight, yeah, they did have amazing players and stuff. You think about them before. No one knew who Jamie Collins was. No one knew who Kyle Van Noy is, who's back here now. No one.
They kept bringing them back, and they had Pro Bowl years. So,
but they just kept finding dudes, right, to play for them. That's what Belichick was doing, right? And he was creating the belief. Now, I think it's unfair that this is the narrative. But if Tom Brady comes in and beats the Patriots and he beats them fucking good, it's over. The narrative's almost dead anyway. Tom Brady's the biggest.
Yeah, but that annoys me though. That really annoys me because have a look at the team that Tom Brady has around him right now. In saying that, 7 years ago,
carried to Super Bowls with the Patriots.
I was going to say 7 years ago. Imagine Tom Brady in one of those powerhouse teams. Like, imagine him being in. That would have been absolutely crazy. But I think that you can't really. If Tom Brady went and played with the Giants right now and went into Foxborough to play against Cork and his mates. He's not fucking taking the Giants to beat the Patriots. So this isn't just a question of Tom Brady. Oh look, I'd love for Tom Brady to play.
I think if Tom Brady played almost any team in the NFL, they'd be a playoff team. I think that's the way he's built, the way he's designed is different. No one thought the Bucs were that good last year. They thought they were good, but they weren't that good.
I thought they were good the entire way through. Not great. I thought they were good. I didn't think they were great. I thought they would get to the playoffs.
For 7 years, right?
7 years,
and then Tom Brady comes and they win a Super Bowl.
The difference between Jameis Winston.
It
was obviously AB coming later in the year that just gave them the pep they needed.
That was the difference. Right.
Obviously, it had nothing to do with Tom Brady.
I don't know.
Also, just to let you know, JA, just to let you know, you've got a diploma in arguing, Reeg says. So he's got you on this one.
I should tell my wife that.
I found that was pretty funny because I have seen you and so good at it. So
I constantly lose at home. Don't worry.
You do not.
I don't win. I don't win anything.
No, you're a Padawan.
This is exciting.
This is going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game.
I think it's going to be close. I don't think they're going to beat the shit out of the Patriots. I just don't see that narrative. I think they win, but I think it's close.
Look, unfortunately, I think they will destroy them, but I don't think anyone watching is going to be sad that Tom Brady destroys the Patriots at home. Like, no one's going to be upset watching them, apart from Patriots fans, but there's only 100 billion of them in Australia, so...
3 years ago, everyone hated Tom Brady. It was like, you hated Tom Brady. You
hated Tom Brady.
Everyone hated the Patriots.
I never... I love Tom Brady. I was always hoping that when we got to the playoffs, we would be in a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. That's literally what I hoped every year.
Personally,
from 2011.
I hope Tom Brady goes in and kisses these guys harder than he kisses his son. I hope he just annihilates them.
Imagine if after the game he grabs the cork and gives him a kiss like he did his son, and then Horsey Cork would then become the generational talent because of saliva transference.
And also, great comment by Too Hot. He will get the passing record in this game as well.
Yeah, look, and that will be.
It's a cool place to get it.
That's a bit of poetry, isn't it?
How does it work out like that? Like, honestly, how the fuck does this? Is this scripted? Are we living in a matrix? Is this all just scripted?
No, that's college football, Jay.
College football's it's all a myth. It's not even real. It's like the salary cap. But yeah, that's where we're at. All right, pick it, Deej. Who you taking?
Bucks by 14.
Bucks for me. I think close. Bucks by 3. Tom Brady drives the field, a minute 30 left, wins the game, 0 seconds, kicks a field goal, and they bring back Vinatieri to play for the Bucks for one game.
I was actually going to say
there's no Gronk in this game, which would have been even.
The Pates pull back Koskowski and get him to kick for them.
I'm going to leave the comments on this. Might be
TB12 has a diploma in kissing sons. Wow, that got dark real quick, didn't it? I'm sure there's a few other comments going around.
He's a massive sun kisser, man. He's a massive sun kisser. He loves it. Loves it.
Have you looked at Tom Brady? If I was his son, I would want him to kiss me too. So, like, I get it.
He's a beautiful man. If I had to pick between him or his wife, I'd pick Tom. Any day of the week. See how drunk he was in this t-shirt? Look at him. That's Tom. That's Tom
When
Brady.
he was throwing the Lombardi trophy across the boats, I was just straight away went, only Tom Brady could do that, really. Even though Gronk would he hit a golf ball off his or something.
Horsey's now upset because you bagged college. All right. That is
if only the Gamecocks were as good as my Trojans, mate, you'd be all right.
As long as only the Gamecocks actually played real football. Anyway, that's going to upset him, I know, because I don't even watch college football. That's the worst part of it. But if you'd want to listen to some college football, get around the boys, Alt Studio, College Football Down Under. Their podcast it's absolutely, as my good friend Scotty would say, my package deal Scotty would say, they're elite. So get around them. Fantasy football this week as well. But tomorrow night we'll record the podcast, and then college will come out tomorrow as well. Their recap. They'll have their preview show later in the week. Fantasy football later in the week. Get around it all. Thanks everyone for coming in. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It means a lot. It's good fun. I love reading. This is why I like doing this as a live show, not a podcast. And I know you're the same, DJ. Getting some interaction,
absolutely,
talking with everyone. It's really enjoyable. So it makes
there's like a 15-second delay though to let everyone in the chats know. So half the time we've already made our points and moved on.
Sorry, Mark. We do the Monday night game on the podcast. And Regan, your question, Patreon. The Patreon draw break is tomorrow, start of the podcast. So listen.
And what is it again?
Podcast tomorrow. It is
Wise. It's Wise's signed jersey, 91 from the Patriots.
Why am I sore from leaning over? Wise.
I got a ride.
Yeah, it's a nice jersey actually. Sometimes I hate
Patreon giveaways is DJ's diploma. I wish.
As you can tell, I hate having to give this stuff away. I'm like, I want to keep that one. But yeah, and there's some really good ones coming up in the future as well. So awesome stuff. But thank you to all our patrons. Had a couple more sign up this week, which I'll announce tomorrow night too. We're not there yet though because someone dropped out.
Was it me? Was it
no,
my card defunct because I bought too much wine? That happens.
Someone pulled the pin.
Oh,
flat about it too. Flat about that. That was my coffee. You know, that was my coffee gone. Because it's only the cost of one coffee a month.
And you do get a soy half strength orange frappuccino matcha in a tall takeaway coconut. Like, so no wonder it is just, $10 is actually just one coffee for you. So
you think it's fucking Zoolander? That's it. Let's get out of here. DJ, thank you as always, mate. Love your work. You're a late call up today. Hopefully won't be a late call up next week. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We will we'll see you on the
See you all tomorrow night.
Thanks, guys. Diploma and coffee.